Hey YouTube, this is Zach with Achilles Financial, and today I'm going to be talking about the Invesco Solar ETF, which trades under the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol TAN, T-A-N, and why this may be a good investment pending some current legislation that is being pushed with bipartisan support in the Congressional House and the Senate. And that bill is the Energy Storage Investment Tax Credit, and it's being pushed heavily by the Energy Storage Association, which makes sense. Essentially what this is it is a bill which will incentivize homeowners as well as corporations to make good use of incentivizing, in particular, solar energy, but also smart solar storage, as well as hydroelectric, wind power, basically any form of energy storage. Now, what we have here on the screen, an Invesco Solar ETF, is actually a ETF or exchange traded fund that the portfolio is primarily made up of companies that are heavily involved in all of those industries. So what you see here on the screen, you can see Enphase, SolarEdge, Sunrun, First Solar, SunPower, and Hannon Armstrong Sustainable Infrastructure Capital. So a lot of these companies have had not great calendar years, but I want to remind everyone that when we're looking at this information, that this is over the course of the past few years that they've actually done quite well. So you can see that this company, Sunrun in particular, had a high of $96.50, and they've dropped pretty dramatically since that point in time. A lot of these companies did have that run up when Biden was initially elected, with the idea behind that being that there would be this big push towards clean energy. Since that point in time, we've actually seen oil have a lot more growth. Now, what I'm looking at for something like the Invesco Solar ETF is that we did have that run up, and you can see that even a month ago. However, if we look on the 1-year chart, we've had a huge run up that was reminiscent of what we just looked at for those stocks. However, it's come back down pretty substantially, and we're kind of at a key level right here, although 80 seems to be kind of that bounce point. If we can stay at this level, then this is a great opportunity to go long on an investment such as the Invesco TAN. The reason that I say that is because this bill could change basically how this is approached. So let's go actually directly to the bill. So here you can see this is the bill on congress.gov. And again, essentially this is to change how the IRS processes tax credits for energy storage technologies and for other purposes. Keep in mind while we're watching this video, the way I came about this is because I was looking at Starpeak Energy, which will be STEM Inc. pending their SPAC merger. Again, it's one of my long-term holds. It's one I like a lot. And this bill would directly benefit them. Right now, it's just been introduced. But let's talk about some of the co-sponsors here, because as you can see, we do actually have both independent as well as Republican support for this, albeit not a lot. The reason that I highlight this is because we, generally speaking, obviously don't have many bipartisan bills. This is something that I do think there is going to be further push as the clean energy spectrum is embraced and the capability to go comes forward. Now, because they don't exactly explain it very well, and they don't actually have the text in here to where we'll be able to necessarily look at it, let's go and look at a summary provided by the Energy Storage Investment Association. So this is a simple summary provided by the Energy Storage Association, and essentially what I will highlight here is what this will essentially do is provide clean energy tax credits. So if you recall, currently Tesla gets credits for producing clean energy vehicles. If you were to install a solar panel on your roof, depending on your state, you would also get tax incentives to do so. So they would encourage you, or what this bill would encourage you to do, is essentially provide not only just clean energy tax credits, but clean energy storage. So you'd be able to power your home utilizing some of this technology, or if not completely power your home, then at least be able to alleviate some of the burden on our utilities. Now what that looks like, again, you can see some of the phase out schedule here, where essentially you would have to have a certain percentage of construction completed or started by a certain point in time. Again, this would be something beneficial for you as a homeowner or as someone who was driving a electric vehicle, though not necessarily this bill specifically. The reason why all of this would be beneficial for these companies is because this would lead to early adoption. So if you could get a $7,500 tax credit on your next vehicle, would you be incentivized to buy an electric vehicle? The obvious answer here would be yes. In the same fashion, if you would be incentivized to have a $7,500 or $3,500, I don't think the final amount has been decided at this point in time, but if you were to get a $7,500 tax credit, not deduction, which would be a decrease in your earned income for tax purposes, but an actual credit, which means that those taxes would be essentially erased, then you would definitely be incentivized to pay, I don't know, $5,000 to get that technology and have it implemented in your home or utilize that storage capability if you were a business. So I will link this in the description below, but let's go back to the actual company or the investment fund and see what some of the options are. So when we're looking at TAN, the reason why I like this company and I like this approach is because it gives you some exposure to a number of different companies in here that are a lot of the forefront or the leaders in this field. Again, Enphase, Solar Edge, Sunrun, for those of you, again, follow who is STPK's ticker symbol. But again, other videos on that. The reason why I highlight all of these companies is in this industry, I anticipate there's going to be some winners and losers. And for this approach, you're able to get some of those all in a mixed bag. So if I think that SunPower is going to be the winner, I could bet my money on them. However, this way I have exposure to a lot in an industry that is still new, and I still think we're going to see some losers in there as well. The other idea that I like here, admitting that the stock market is a little volatile right now, if you go into the options chain and we look at all, then you have the capability to evaluate, hey, what are we looking at from the perspective of some farther out options? And if we look at the January 21st, 2022, as you can see, 304 days to expiration, the options prices really aren't that bad. So if right here for about $800, you can get the $120 calls. For that reason, I think that this is a fairly healthy investment, a lot of time, and the capability for it to go up and down any number of ways. At the end of the day, though, you can just buy the fund. It does pay a very, very small dividend, but it gives you the capability to run it anyways. If you are not in agreement with my thesis, well, the put charts are over here on the same side, and you can check those out accordingly. Again, I think there's a lot to like about this fund. From an overall perspective, the expense ratio is fairly low compared to a lot of what we see. You can see 0.7. It's low compared to like an ARC at 0.75. It's very high at like a SPY or VOO, total market indices. But that being said, this means there is active management associated with it, and you have the capability to look at a very specific piece of the market and check it out. So let me know in the comments below your thoughts on this bill, on this company, on this industry, and if you have any feedback for me. And if you find this content helpful, please leave a like and subscribe. And if you want to talk about it, I've got the link in the Discord down below, or if you want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram, that's there as well. So thanks for watching. Talk to you all later.